This week's episode is brought to you by NYXI and their Hyperion Pro Joy-Cons for Nintendo Switch. The Hyperion Pro is the best Joy-Con replacement we've tested to date. They look fantastic, they feel better than stock Joy-Cons, and the Hall effect sticks ensure longevity of them will outlast Nintendo's offering, as well as other third-party brands that still suffer with the dreaded drift issues. The super comfortable and ergonomic grip allow for easy long-time gaming. The programmable RGB lights mean you can customize the controller to your particular taste, and the gamer's reflex macro buttons are available to give you an edge. Plus, the GameCube-inspired purple option and the green Legend of Zelda-inspired variant really make the controller stand out. All this, and using promo code PvP, you can get 10% off. Head over to NYXIGame.com or use the link in the description. Hello, welcome to Podcast First Player, episode 283. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who told me the 3 lions on the England shirt are being replaced by 3 tampons in recognition of the worst period in the team's history.
That's an outstanding joke. I love that.
Then bloody Dan. Wax on, wax off. It's hot, mate. Too hot.
Well, I thought you meant the chemistry between us, but
that,
yes,
that as well, obviously.
Well, it's 16 degrees today, Callum, so it's not too bad. It was 12 degrees hotter yesterday.
That's true.
It hit 28 on the way home, and it was fucking brutal.
It was 22 when I went to pick Logan up from school, but then it started raining, so I was like, it's going to clear a bit, but it still stayed really muggy and it was just wet.
Yeah. Well, it's overcast here, but it's still quite humid, but certainly not as bad as it was yesterday.
Well, to be fair, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's been really hot.
Happy days?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I don't know, people are going to be there like, oh, that's not actually that hot. But it's the humidity. That's the problem.
It's just all of it. If it's too cold, we'll whinge. If it's too hot, we'll whinge. Just shut up and just deal with it. It's what happens in this country, all right?
We're going to have to, because we can't do anything about it. So, anyway.
The country's not set up for any extreme weather, one way or the other.
Nah. Well, that's the worst thing about, especially houses like this that were that were made in the 70s and earlier. Like, houses in England were built to retain heat.
Yeah.
And obviously, new builds, you don't have that problem because they're just made of cardboard. So it's not a problem. But most of the buildings in England are just not built for this kind of weather.
Well, because most of them, they're all fucking 400 years old.
That's what I mean, like, because of the times that they were built. And I don't know how humidity works in the sense of climate change and everything else, but has it always been really bad humidity?
Well, how about I try and find something from the Met Office or something like that. Humidity levels over the last 100 years. As in something that we could... It's being monitored and could be tracked.
Yeah.
For the last 100 years, maybe. This is just numbers and percentages. I have literally no idea what I'm looking at. 23, 24. I mean, that looks like it's a very specific. It's like a live stream from a weather station or something, which I don't.
No, so I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm very versed in the old. I know what degrees are and Fahrenheit and stuff, and that's about as far as I can go. I saw a lot of people today saying, basically, if it's, I think Egypt was one that was used, and the humidity is 88% worse here than it is in Egypt, which is why, because it's a dry heat.
Is it
in Egypt?
Isn't it like Egypt's? Is it like their spring or their winter or something like that?
I don't know. To be fair, I know someone that went to Egypt like 2 weeks ago, and they were saying it was like 40 degrees and stuff. But because it's a dry heat, it's not unbearable. And obviously, when you come back here, it's like this, and it's just like, ugh. But again, we're also big, whingy, whiny babies. So
Very true.
Anyway, Dan, I'd like you to cast your mind back to a time on the podcast where we was talking about something that Xbox could do, and it was a potential that we've kind of covered as a maybe it's going to happen at E3 this year, maybe it's going to happen at E3 this year. Oh, now it's the Microsoft Showcase. Game Pass, a little stick that goes in your TV don't need an Xbox or anything. That's kind of happened today. Kind of.
Okay, tell me more.
So basically, gamers looking for a convenient and affordable way to play favourite Xbox titles. A collaboration between Xbox and Amazon has you covered. Starting from next month, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members can access and play hundreds of cloud-enabled games directly through the Xbox app on select Fire TV devices, including Fire Sticks.
So, it's not something that they have made that does it, but quite smartly they've just said, we'll put our app on something that's compatible.
Yeah.
So we don't have to spend money making the hardware.
Infrastructure's already there.
Someone buys it off us, presumably. They will give us money to put it on it.
Yeah. I assume that's how it works. I don't know, but that's... How many people have a Fire Stick? A lot. More than Xboxes.
I'd assume probably quite a lot as like a convenient way of just accessing a lot of different TV stuff.
I'm pretty sure I've got 2 in this box of cables and stuff.
I've never needed one, frankly. I use Netflix and Amazon and Disney and all that.
I bought one the first time round because my Nvidia Shield TV remote broke.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
But the Amazon Fire remote was compatible, and it was like £30 cheaper than buying the remote. So I was like, I'll just wait for Black Friday and buy that then. So I just used the app on my phone for ages, wait for Black Friday, and then bought one. And I can't remember why I bought the next one, but I've never used it anyway. But I genuinely love this idea of this is the way. I think this is the way forward for Xbox. And I know we are going to get a new console, and we'll probably get another console after that. But I can see it being more of this, like how Spencer put it in that interview a couple of months ago, where it's, if it's got a screen, it's an Xbox.
Yeah.
And I really like that idea.
If it's got an screen and an internet connection.
And an internet connection as well, yeah. That's going to be the only negative, is ones, if people have got physical copies of games that aren't on Game Pass, you're still tethered to, I need my Xbox then. But
yeah, but this is more for the cash, sort of like, people that just sort of like, I like a library, but I either don't know what I'm interested in, or how is it a backup? You could take it and plug it into a hotel TV when you're traveling or whatever. Bang, there's your fucking library that you can just carry on playing with.
That's it's a really cheap way of doing it, where you just, especially if you already got the stick, where you just got to buy an Xbox controller.
That means that they can focus purely on the software and the app itself and the library itself, and not have to worry about research and development and making a new thing. I'd say, if anything, if you're moving away from consoles as a whole, make sure that you've got that Game Pass thing on anything, say anything with a screen, anything with an internet connection. You can start to use it, and just make a fucking killer controller. Yeah,
that's the best one you could possibly buy.
Yeah, put all your money into R&D for, instead of consoles and teraflops and shit. just go, look, we can't compete with the PC market anymore. It's expanding too quickly and too quickly.
Too quickly.
Yeah, very quickly, as some would say. By the time that it's halfway through its life cycle, it's already outmoded by, something comparable price GPU wise.
Yeah.
So instead, we'll just make it the best fucking controller that's compatible with PCs, and it's got a USB-C thing that'll plug into your phone and Bluetooth it or whatever. That means that it's almost completely without hardware.
Yeah.
So you're kind of moving into a more digital age with it. Like, you're not tied to a console, you're not tied to a power supply and whatever. As long as you just plug it into whatever you were going to look at it on, and you can connect it to the internet, you're good to go.
I suppose as well, you could even... A lot of people are not likely to want to pay the cost of like an Elite controller, because they are quite expensive comparatively.
It's like 70 quid or something, which is expensive.
No. An Elite controller's like nearly 200 quid.
No, the Elite 2 is like 200 quid.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But nobody's going to buy an Elite 1 now, though. I mean, like, if you want the best controller, it's going to be one of the Elite controllers, the Razer Wolverine controllers, and these are all like 200 to 200 plus controllers. However, if you can offset the cost of that by not building consoles, they could probably sell these fantastic controllers at that £70 price point. So it is the same price as another one, a normal one, sorry. And more people are likely to buy them. However, more news, Dan. I don't know how you'll feel about this, but I'm quite interested. Capcom have announced a Dead Rising Deluxe remaster.
Of the original 3?
I believe it's just the first one. Let me just double check. Yes, first one.
Okay.
I like the first one. It was quite fun.
Yeah, I think I still own it, actually, on 360. I think I've still got it in the living room. It was fine.
Oh, that's...
I've never really drawn back to it, I guess. Something like Dying Light, something like Dead Island 2.
Yeah.
They're far more sort of like fun versions of that. I mean, that kind of like, it was a trailblazer to some extent. It was fun, and it was, smashing a million zombies or whatever. But re-releasing it now, I wouldn't be, chomping at the bit to get to it.
No, I mean, I'm not going to be. This isn't going to be like the top of my list for games to buy this year or whenever it comes out.
Nah.
But it would be nice if there was enough of an interest in it where we get Dead Rising 5. The 4 wasn't too, but I did quite enjoy 4. It was quite good.
I don't know. It just I played it for a bit. Like 3, I don't think was any good because that was with the dude with the mechanical.
Yeah.
It was like a truck.
Yeah.
Wasn't super into that, but wasn't 4 on Game Pass?
Potentially,
isn't it?
It was an Xbox One title, so it may have showed up on there, but I'm not too sure.
Dead Rising 4, they're on here, but purchasable.
Yeah,
they are not Game Pass ones anymore. Like free on Game Pass, should I say? But only 4 by the looks of it. It's only 4.
Well, the other 2 were 360, wasn't they?
Yeah, so maybe you get it on your Xbox 360 Game Pass, maybe.
It'd be just something to look at least, but...
Yeah, also there's something that's been added to Game Pass today called Robin Hood Sherwood Builders. So I've got that installed.
What is that?
I don't know, but I just saw it as a single player, and I just read literally the first sentence, which said it's an action-adventure RPG with base building elements where you take on the role of a classic hero who stands up, and that's it. And I've just clicked install.
He just stands up.
He stands up. He stands up and builds a base. That's all I'm looking for in a game these days. So,
well, if that kind of re-release doesn't get your blood pumping, Dan, how about some Star Wars Bounty Hunter?
Wasn't this re-released for PS5?
4, I think. Pretty sure it's PS4.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, but they were just like, people like this. Here it is, just on this one console for some reason. Yeah,
which was weird because when it originally came out, it was on GameCube, and then much later on PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
So an odd one, but yeah. Apparently, the 2002 game has been optimized for new hardware, which is PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC.
I'll play it on PC. Sure, it'll add to my already growing Star Wars collection. So I'll tell you when I started getting Republic. I was on Republic Commandos again the other day.
No, you did not.
Because it's been tweaked and worked, and it kind of works with like full screen on widescreen monitors and that kind of thing. So I think the only sort of Star Wars games that I don't own, other than the sort of like the gimmicky ones, like your chess ones or whatever.
Yeah, like Yoda's Colored Adventure.
Yeah, like Vader's Bejeweled, something or other. It's like the original X-Wing versus TIE Fighters.
Yeah.
And I played them back in the day, and I did enjoy them. But they are no good now.
Nah.
And if you want to play something like that,
Squadrons.
play Squadrons. Because it's the same and it's infinitely fucking better.
I really liked Republic Commando. I thought it was a good game.
Yeah, same. Like the squad mechanics, they're very fucking basic compared to like games with squad. Like Ready or Not, that's a great squad game.
Yeah, but that's also
like, you've got
25 years newer.
That's my point. It's like going back and playing it, you're just sort of like, oh God, why can't I just look over there? Like like with Mass Effect, like that's very basic sort of like companion controls or whatever. But you still just sort of look over there and press a button, and you go over there, like you cover there, hold it down, and they do a power.
Yeah.
Dead easy.
Yeah.
Nothing more complicated is needed. Like in the middle of a firefight. And this it doesn't really even have that. It's more just a case of when you get to a set piece that you can do something like that, then you set it up. If they were to remake that and say, well, we've added a lot more kind of squad features and that kind of shit, yeah, I probably would rebuy that.
I definitely would, yeah. It was. I think it came at a poor time when everyone was still on the Halo train, and here's a new sci-fi-ish first-person shooter on Xbox as well, and I think it got a bit of a bad rep. But I really enjoyed it.
Honestly, going back to it, I'm just kind of like, there's different squad members with different types of weapons, and you've got upgrades and shit like that. It's perfectly serviceable. It still doesn't really look great. I mean, like New Vegas playing that is one of the worst looking games that I've gone back to and just gone, oh god, it's just dog shit.
But it's also a Bethesda title. It's kind of a given.
I know, but I'm pretty sure 3 doesn't look this bad, and this came out after it. There's a lot more in 3. There's buildings and cities.
Yeah, there's a lot more to mask.
This is just, here's a desert for a mile. Off you pop.
I do think that's one of those decisions that's either a good one or a bad one. And it's a good one because you look and you just go, look at the vast landscape that's there, and it goes for miles. Or
the map's enormous. And it's like, yeah, but there's 80 things to do in it.
And a load screen between each one.
Luckily on PC though, like on Game Pass, the load screens are like that.
Yeah.
Doing that on a 360 or something back in the day.
Yeah, I think I had it on PS3, I think.
At least with 4, the majority of the buildings that you go into, it loads with the world.
Yeah.
So if it's just like a 3-story building, you can just go in and just mooch about. It's only the ones with like sub-basements and like story shit to do that you need to load to get in. But again, the load times are minimal at that point.
It's normally you'll read like 2 of the things that pop up on the screen and then you're in. It doesn't take very long at all. But yeah, if you pre-order Bounty Hunter, you get 10% off, dropping the price down to $18.
So that would be about, well, actually no, because they don't usually do conversions, do they? So that would be about 15 quid.
I'd say 15.
If it's $18, it would be 18 quid. That's how much it would be.
Maybe, yeah. Still, obviously not full price.
I mean, considering, again, if it comes out in Steam, I'll probably get it. Like, because this is just a block of S, which is just Star Wars and Star Trek. And if this comes out for it and it's been tweaked somewhat and it kind of works and it's good, I never played it back in the day. I'll fucking give it a go. I'll hate it, no doubt, because it'll be old and shit, but I'll give it a go, sure.
I'll be honest, I had it on GameCube, and then when it was, because this is the 3rd time this has been re-released. It was, no, sorry. Ignore what I'm saying. My friend had it for PS4 and I borrowed it on PS4. Right. And I very much enjoyed it, but that was playing it after playing it many years ago and enjoyed it many years ago.
Yeah.
I still like the mechanics of you can take people in like dead or alive. So obviously you get a bit more money for your bounties if you can bring them in. And I thought that was a really good mechanic for the time and even now. But reading this on PS5 specifically, the game uses DualSense adaptive triggers to help players feel the weight of Django's blasters. And additionally, Django's radio comms play through the DualSense speaker, while the DualSense light bar display Django's health status at any given moment.
That's cool.
So that's quite funky. There are also not reasons why I'd go, I'm not going to buy it on PC and I'm going to buy a PS5 in order to play it this way. It's
probably not worth it for that.
No. It'll be fun at the time and then it'll be the same as everything else that does stuff like this and I just forget about it. Although, I'll still stand by stuff like The Last of Us when the batteries are going. Like, you'd have done the same on the first one for PS3. The batteries are going, you have to shake the controller to... And I thought that was very, very clever. I did like that.
There's a lot of tricks that like the Switch controller, like the Pro controllers have, and the PS5 and the PS4 controllers have, that Xbox just haven't gone with.
No,
like they've not had any kind of motion sensitivity. They haven't introduced any kind of lighting. It's almost as if they're saying we don't need any gimmicks. Like it's just a great controller, but it's not.
It works.
Like, it's not in the same. It's just not. It's not at that level that it's like the Elite and like the Elite 2. They are probably just sort of like, oh my god, like the sensitivity and the control that you've got is probably infinitely better. Sure, but I've never played one. with one, so I can't comment. But maybe that's why they're just trying to keep the normal controllers just sort of like fairly cheap and cheerful. Whereas with the PS5, you go, it's this or nothing.
Well, no, they've got their own
you,
pro
you
controller
get a third party. Oh, have they? Yeah.
Looks shit then.
Yeah, but it's like as good as it is, and it is good. It's not. It's getting that console or sticking with one.
No. When I sat down and went,
it's a fun thing.
Do I get a PS5 or do I get a Series X? It wasn't, wow, this controller's got funky triggers and lights. It was, no, it's got better games at the time of launch. And I will say now, I think out of the two, I think I play Series X more than I play the PS5 personally. But I really, really like the features and stuff like Horizon and that uses it for like bows and stuff, so it'll lock up and stuff like that. Like, it does not necessarily improve the game, but it does improve the experience a little bit, and it is cool. But you could also take that away, and I'd still play the game.
Yeah.
So it seems a little bit wasted for something like this, and it does feel like they've just gone, we've got to do something. We've already released this once. Like, give it something else. But then you haven't got that on any of the other ones. Like, it's not going to be on Xbox. It's not going to be a Switch. It's not going to be on PC. And I don't know why they haven't released the API for the DualSense for the PC. So you could use, because obviously you can use a DualSense controller.
You can, yeah, but it just doesn't have the same features within it. But with the games that are on it as well, even the PlayStation games, they aren't, like, that wouldn't be a factor as part of the port.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah,
they'd have to patch every one of them to say if you end up using a PS5 controller and you've got the right software to use it effectively, or you build it into the patch, just in case you start using it. I will buy one. Yeah, because it is the better controller.
I really like the DualSense controller. It feels good, controls good. Yep. It has got all the extra features and stuff which are nice to have. But I'm pretty sure we have had this conversation before, but it's the Xbox controller is just great, and it's always been a good controller. Whereas the PlayStation ones have notoriously been pretty wank. And the DualSense 5 seems like it is a genuine upgrade in the PlayStation controllers. And whereas the Xbox One side, it's pretty good. It's the same as the other one, but just a bit better. And that doesn't feel like an improvement to me. That's just going, tinker it and sell it for 70 quid.
Yeah, I mean, the implication would be that you nailed it out of the gate.
That's what I mean. They've got nowhere else to go in that sense. But
it's the only way that you improve in that case is that you look at the market and you say, right, what do people respond to, right? So they like all the haptic feedback that you get through, controls and stuff like that. So, like, I'm seeing a lot more videos about people like with like haptic vests and haptic gloves and things like that, especially like to enhance the VR experience. And something like that where it would like plug into a vest that you could wear. So like there was a controller input at the bottom. Yeah. And you could, put the vest on, put the plug in. And, if you're getting shot in the back, then you're getting the feedback.
Yeah, you feel it from that.
So instead of it being the controller that's doing all, so it's limited to just in these two hands, it ties into a bigger piece of equipment. I think it would be a bit gimmicky, but it would be something different than just in trying to copy a PlayStation.
That's all you'd get is just copy PlayStation, who didn't create haptics, but they've put it into the controller, and it's too long gone now for it. But I think I'd go for a vest personally. I think it would. Obviously, if you're playing Sackboy's Big Adventure, it's probably not going to get much benefit, but like certain games, VR particularly, it's something I don't know why Xbox haven't gone down the VR route.
Again, they seem to have just found their footing with Game Pass and like purchasing studios to make shit for them. It seems that they're focusing far more on software than hardware. So maybe something like that isn't on there until they can get this locked down and they go, we control an enormous, like, we can afford to split focus and look at
other stuff.
Money. But then if you look at Nintendo's history with peripherals, and just most of them tank, and some of them take the manufacturers with them as well because they're so poor. if they just go, we're onto a good thing. We don't need to have a gimmick to go along with it.
Because, I mean, to be fair, they've done their fair share. I mean, Connect was enough to put anybody kind of detouring off the path. Like,
yeah, but they're learning from it. And they just go, well, we made a second one and we fixed a lot of the issues with it, but it's still just people aren't interested, so knock it on the head.
Nah.
We're not going to do it again.
I think if they'd have been the first one, if that had come out before the Wii, I think the Connect, like, yeah, just say Connect was the first one, and then everyone else came after. I think they would have had a bigger footing for it, but it just seemed like it. I mean,
but it was like because there was the big tie-ins with it. You know, it was the Just Dance thing. It was the Fruit Ninja
Star
thing.
Wars.
It was the Star Wars thing. Like they put a lot behind that Star Wars thing, being like, you know, you're in Star Wars, and no, you're not.
You're dancing.
No, I don't mean just that one. I mean, like there was like lightsaber stuff in it that just again, it can't read depth very well.
Yeah.
So when you're swinging around, it's just sort of like, I think you're doing that or something. Like it's really. It is all just built around the license rather than any of the actual. It's the same as the Harry Potter stuff. It's just sort of like you do a one thing and you've got to shout commands and whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
Worked good for Mass Effect though, shouting out commands and stuff.
I did, but you just get a microphone.
So, I mean, it's the stuff that works, are like the parts of it that aren't the selling point.
Well, Steel Battalion is probably I think it's Steel Battalion was the worst example of it because I remember having that the demo for that, and because there's like this huge control panel, and like it's registering not only where your hands are to like move controls and levers and shit, but you also have to use a controller as well, and it's recognizing whether you're standing up or sitting down. So there's a lot going on, and like especially like something where you sort of like you're fighting mechs and tanks and shit. And you're trying to grab a lever, and it doesn't know what the fuck you're trying to do.
Did you see that video of I think it's World of Tanks, I believe, is the game they're playing. But they've basically made a mod thing of an actual tank. So you know, like how people do, they're like with the loading the stuff. It's amazing. It's so well done.
Yeah.
But
did you know that there's a Star Trek World of Warships crossover going on at the moment?
I did not. Was there many? This is something worth your attention, Dan. As a question, as somebody that's not a big lover of Star Trek and not very knowledgeable, I was of the impression the majority of the Star Trek ships were just like discovery ships, so finding sciencey shit, rather than full-on battle stations.
Well, technically, the first warship that was ever made was the Defiant.
That means nothing to me.
Sorry, yeah, I just realised. So, Deep Space Nine, it's based on a space station, isn't it? But then after the first few seasons or so, they were just sort of like, fucking hell, we're not visiting alien planets and shit that often. People, it's like working on the docks.
Right.
It's just people coming in constantly. It's like crazy aliens and cool stories and stuff like that, but, they're not getting stuck in black holes and shit. So, because of like a big Dominion war that was going on, they issued the station with the Defiant, which is the second ship. No, it was the prototype. So it was a ship specifically built to fight the Borg, which is hilarious because it's this tiny fucking ship that's got like 20 crew or whatever, but it's got like crazy armaments and stuff like that for its size. But that. Wait, where was I going? What did you ask me?
I thought the majority of the ships were like...
So, most of them, that is the case. There will be medical ships, there are transport ships, there are cargo ships, there are frigates, and there's things that are very powerful. But primarily, they're all exploration science.
Exploration, that's the word, yeah.
That kind of stuff. The Defiant was the only ship that was built purely for combat.
But I assume they all have weapons, just in case.
It varies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, most of them will have, but like, transport ships and stuff like that, medical ships, they're not designed for combat. They're designed to, they've got incredible medical facilities and laboratories and whatever. So they'll usually have like a support ship that's something that is just so they can't get jumped, basically. Something that will help defend them if that's the case.
But there are shields on that still.
Yeah, but again, it's dependent on what their assignment and mission is as to how strong it will be, I opened up Steam to have a look at something, mate. What was it?
I don't know. Well, I will say, while you're looking at that, though, I've just realised the people making this Star Wars Bounty Hunter re-release is HBO Media, who are the ones making the Knights of the Republic remake.
Oh, cool. Well, eventually.
Hopefully.
I came onto Steam to look for a thing, and I don't remember what it was.
Well, we were talking about Xbox stuff prior to that. Star Trek crossover.
Yes, that was it. Thank you. Right, World of Warships, right?
Good job. I pay attention.
I know. Yeah, thank you, mate. Oh, where is it? I thought it'd be on their bloody store page.
Is it out yet?
Maybe. I saw it like the featured thing. I'm sure.
Right.
Which is why I was just sort of like, what?
Is that going to be like a permanent thing, or is it just like a?
It'll look like most of them.
Temporary.
It'll just be like, there's like skins for the battleships or whatever. There's got to be a news page on here somewhere, right?
Has to be. Well, while you're doing that, Dan.
You all. Yeah.
Speaking of Steam, there is a new official Steam controller on the way for realsies.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the last one was innovative, sure.
Well, what I'm going to do, Dan, I'm going to copy this image and send it over to you because I think it looks pretty fucking cool.
Okay, let me have a peek. It's not on there. It's not on the official Steam thing, so I'm assuming
It's probably not out yet then.
It's not out, but it's also not part of their sort of like this is coming. Was it World of Warships or was it World of Tanks? I don't know.
No, it's got to be World of Warships. It's not going to be tanks, is it?
Yeah, true.
Is there many
plus
tanks
they're
in Star Trek?
I'm pretty sure there was a USS Enterprise, like an aircraft carrier, I think that was called Enterprise.
But I have sent you the new Steam controller, which doesn't really look like the old Steam controller. I'll be honest.
Oh, Callum, I don't like that. No.
It looks like...
It looks like one of the knockoff Switch controllers.
That's 100% what I was going to say was it looks like a Switch Pro controller.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I've just realised it's made by Hori, who make the Switch Pro controller knockoffs.
You're joking?
No. Well,
I suppose they didn't have to change their models too much.
Not knockoffs. They're still officially licensed third-party controllers.
Yeah, just like their third-party ones.
Yeah. But yeah, so Valve discontinued its own official Steam controller back in 2019. Blah, blah, blah. So unlike this discontinued Steam controller, which used touch-based trackpads instead of thumbsticks and unique button layout, Hori's pads offer a more traditional design similar to most other wireless controllers. All the expected face buttons, shoulder triggers, thumbsticks are present, but there's a few bonus features, including 4 remappable buttons, 2 on the front and 2 paddles on the back, and it has a dedicated button for the Steam Big Picture Mode overlay and Steam Quick Access menu. So, the Steam button's just the Xbox button. Yep. And I'm pretty sure most third-party controllers have paddles now. It's not a big selling feature.
What, on the back?
On the back, yeah.
Yeah.
An extra buttons.
I've never had a controller that's used them. I've never really needed anything that's got that many buttons on it.
I use a Razer Chroma Wolverine controller. And that's got 2 paddles and then 2 buttons above the paddles. And then 2 extra buttons on the top alongside the L and R 2 buttons. Yep. And then the hairline trigger. So, like, you can change the triggers are. And I'm pretty sure, with the exception of the hairline thing, everything else is mostly on everything else.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone who uses them. Well, I tell a lie. I use this extra one because I've got it set up on Fortnite to, if I'm using a sniper, I can slow down my aim without changing everything else. So if I'm using something else, it's nice and quick. Ooh.
Well, to be fair, I'd probably try and find uses for it. Like if I was doing racing games, or if I could. So like EA 24, FC 24, whatever it is, the new EA FIFA thing is. Well, not FIFA, but
football.
The football game,
the soccer game.
Yes. That one has got like some button combos for like specific types of shot and pass and
Yeah,
whatever. So I'd probably map like, okay, well if I hold down this one, it's like a quite a hard in front through ball. Like so you can just hold that instead of pressing like a multiple button combination.
Yeah.
Things like that. I'd probably find a use for it. But I wouldn't be. I'm not. If this controller that I got like last year, I think it was, if that dies on its arse. If they're reasonably priced, sure, I guess. But no, that Steam one just doesn't appeal to me at all.
I was excited until I know, because I saw the pictures like different colours, like cool, but I didn't really look at it until we started talking about it, and I'm disappointed because the whole point of the Steam controller was the trackpads. That was the whole
so you could do
point.
mouse based.
Yeah,
like you play Age of Empires or whatever, or The Sims, as you would with like a trackpad on a mouse on a laptop. Sorry,
but this is. Why would you get this over something else?
It was too expensive, or they kept breaking, or people kept getting fucking dust and shit all over it, so that they never worked properly.
Maybe.
So they just go, fuck it, a thumbstick works. Just make a good, accurate thumbstick. Like, because it may be like an incredibly accurate controller. Sure, I just don't. The look of it itself, not that that means anything. Anyway,
no, as long as it's comfortable and everything works, that's the main thing.
Yeah, of course, but I wouldn't be running out to go and get one, certainly.
I just don't see people buying this over an Xbox controller.
Already got an Xbox controller, second hand one. You can pick them up for £30 less than that sometimes.
I mean, this might be 20. Who knows?
If it is, I'll get it as a backup. Yeah, you better believe it. But it won't be.
No, 50.
And then I might as well just get another version of the Xbox X controller or whatever the fuck it was.
It launches October 31st in Japan for 7,980 yen, which is roughly $50 US.
Sure. So it'd be about the same.
Yeah. But I really like the idea. I really wish, because there was like a big sale when they fucked all the controllers off, and you could buy like a Steam controller for like £5, and they were doing do you remember the Steam Link boxes? So you could basically, you turned your PC on, and then you plug this box into your TV, and you could send it to the TV, and there's like no latency because it's just using the same network thing. And they were selling them for like, it could have been £10 for the controller, £5 for the Steam Link, and then people just bought like hundreds of them in like goes like. But I ummed and ahed, and I was like, fuck, it's like £15, and it's free delivery, so why not? And then by the time I'd made my mind up, everything had sold out. So
yeah, you got to be quick.
Yeah,
like you got no time to hesitate.
So I wish I had. That was the same with the Elite though. Amazon did a sale, and it was £60 for an Elite controller. I was like, I'll buy two because that's the price of one. And then they sold out. I was like, motherfuckers, just fucking bought it. But yeah, so I'm less interested about it because that's not a Steam controller. That's a Steam branded controller, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, try and make yourself a bit more unique if that's the only thing you're really getting out there. Like the Steam Decks are kind of great, like in terms of their functionality and their processing power, certainly. But the controller was, I was always kind of like, I was never probably going to get one, but I was just like, fucking hell, you're thinking outside the box there, and I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Apparently people that did use them did like them.
Well, Rick, a friend of the show, he's got a Steam Deck that he really enjoys that he takes with him. I don't think he got the controller. He's just using the deck itself.
Well, I was just looking, Dan, and you can buy the Steam controller, the original Steam controller, on eBay for £94.
No, thank you. Absolutely not. No, thank you.
Just thought if maybe you want to have a look at what it was like. Doesn't seem worth it.
I'll go to a gaming museum. There'll be one in there by now.
They don't look like, I do remember it coming out. I remember going, that is cool, and I do really like the idea of it. But it reminded me of an owl. The front of the thing did, like just the way the layout of the controller was. It looked a bit odd. And I was walking past CX a few months ago, and there was one in the window, And like, looks even worse now. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, it just looks. I don't know. It just looks odd.
I think that like the trackpad side of things is the kind of the most interesting part for me using it, like being mainly a PC gamer. But if I'm using something, like, I mean, if it's like even more accurate than a thumbstick for like aiming and stuff like that, cool, that makes sense. But if you're, if you say like, you can use it in the same way that you would a mouse, mouse and keyboard, or like for sort of like RTS games or StarCraft or whatever, use a mouse then.
Yeah.
Like, sure, just buy a better mouse that won't be that expensive. That's got good DPI, that's got minimal latency. Wire it so you've got even less chance of micro fragments of seconds that you lose as whatever. And just use a mouse. That's it. Can't be better than a mouse to do a mouse's job. Sure.
This was because there was going to be a Steam console, and I believe the only people that actually made an official one was, I think it was Alienware. Valve never ended up making their Steam box in the end. But I think this is what would have tied into that. So it's like, it's all your PC games, but you're on your sofa like you would do an Xbox and stuff, but it's PC. And I think that's the whole general point. I would never see the point of sat at your PC with a Steam controller. It just seems either use an Xbox controller or use a mouse and keyboard. Like, I don't see anybody sat there going, oh, fucking hell, which one? I don't know which one. Which one do I do?
No,
unless they're you.
There's very few things where you've got to combine. Like, you've got to use them for two different things at the same time.
Flight Simulator done.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Because I reinstalled that over the weekend, and I was flying some planes again. I'll tell you what, a lot of it stuck.
Oh, I think meant like in the air.
No, certain, like, I mean, I did go, because they've added a few new planes. I mean, there's a few gimmicky ones in there as well. Like, it's the Dune Ornithopters and the Pelican from Halo.
Not Butterfly,
Dragonfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did add those to the install list, but they don't actually seem to have installed for some bloody reason. I flew like the plane that I flew the most, because it's fairly straightforward sort of control wise. There's nothing too crazy to click on. I flew an F-18 Hornet, but I realised because I flew it from Manchester to Liverpool, and it took about 9 minutes. But I realised that I had because I'd reinstalled it, like the assisted thing was on, so I was like, oh, that's why it didn't just fall out of the sky immediately. But they've got like one of the Airbuses that's on there, like as part of like the free planes now. And I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. And they got like this is absolutely enormous, like 5 engine on each wing, like cargo. But it's absolutely enormous thing. I've yet to find an airport where it fits on the runway. Like,
what's the point then?
It's like the wheels. I don't know if it's a glitch, honestly, but the wheels are like in the runway because the plane is so enormous and you can't move. But I tried one of the Airbuses, and I know what the throttle is. I know where the flaps are. I know where the landing gear is. Anything outside of that, it might as well be a rocket ship. It's just impossible.
Do you think you could get in a plane? Like, say you're on a plane, you're going on holiday, and the pilots had some health issue, and they're like, "Can anybody fly this plane?" Do you reckon you could, based on your experience in Flight Simulator?
No.
That's not the answer.
Absolutely not. No, unless it was the exact the plane that I've got the most sort of flight hours.
Yeah, say it's that one.
Say it's that one. I know where the controls are, but I've not got. I wouldn't have a feel for an aircraft. Like you need to be able to react to the turbulence and the wind and that kind of shit. Plus, if there's any deviation in the model from I have no idea. I'd have literally no idea.
How long do you reckon it'll be until we have a situation like that where they go, you get on a plane and you go to Australia or whatever, but the pilot is playing it from home, so it's basically a fucking a massive drone, essentially.
I wouldn't want to trust a pilot that I can't have on the plane with me. What? Because they're not risking their lives if it all goes tits up. They just go, fucking pitch it into the sea. Yeah.
Who cares?
Or you'd have pilots that are sort of like, they're running 3 different planes at the same time. So this one's on autopilot, this one's on autopilot, I'm landing this one. And then they lose their focus, then an engine goes on that one and they're not paying attention. Well, out the sky you go. Their lives need to be on the line as much as yours in order for them to really pay attention, I feel.
I suppose if I was in that situation, if that was a situation that ever came to light, I'd rather just have a plane of my own that I could sit in, but I just drive it from an Xbox controller.
Give me an Xbox controller, I can drive and fly anything you want.
And that was the car from Men in Black, wasn't it? He had a PlayStation controller as the steering wheel.
Oh God, what an awful time that was. But I reckon if it was like a commercial, like, because I'm pretty sure I saw something where they said that like they've got like single plane, single propeller or single engine pilots, people who train on like very small aircraft and private aircraft. They put them in simulators for like commercial jumbo jets, and they had no idea what, like, you can't just go, you can fly a plane, therefore you can pretty much fly a plane.
Yeah.
Like, they're entirely different beasts. It's like, if you learn how to drive a car, you could get in a truck and you could probably wing it, but there's a lot more difficult shit that goes on in a truck that you're just not trained.
Yeah, you got, again, like air and like the way it moves and everything else, and like distance that you've got between stuff and everything.
Yeah,
but it's nothing you couldn't figure out.
No, but you try to take height into account.
Yeah,
driving a car, you're never too small too big to go under a bridge. Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
it's like it would be the equivalent of someone teaching you how to ride a bike and then putting you in a monster truck and saying off you go. they're not even close to being the same thing. But I reckon that if there was anyone, I believe it's never happened where like a commercial airliner is all pilots have been incapacitated and passengers needed to take over the flight controls.
Probably
but I think that if it was to happen and there wasn't any actual pilots, like someone who's actually trained on how to do it, I don't like they would never talk you into an airport. No. They would say, right, can you you kind of know, okay, so you know about airspeed, you know where your flaps are, you know what this means, okay, you need to take that plane and you need to crash it into the sea.
Yeah.
Or a lake or something that's as far away from people as possible. Everyone will die, but no one else would die.
Yeah, so
that's your job. Or if you no, I'm going to land at an airport, we will shoot you down.
That was going to be the next question. Do you reckon they'd get like shot out of the sky if they tried?
I reckon so. Yeah, if they went, no, fuck it, guys, I'll land this. They'd go, we don't know who you are. We don't trust you. I reckon the best you could hope for is to say, right, I can I know with like heading settings and stuff like that, I could change the heading of the autopilot and the distance, throttle down, and just they'd say, right, you need to go to the sea. At that point, if you want to try and kind of land it so everyone doesn't explode and get killed immediately, we can't stop you. Like, we're not going to shoot you down for trying to land on the sea, nowhere near anyone.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have a crack at it if there was no one else who was like, this is the only experience I've got. It's all digital. It's barely any hours. If no one else can beat me, I'll have a crack at it.
Well, what's the worst that's going to happen?
All I got to do is just try and flare it into the sea. And fuck it up. It doesn't matter. Everybody dies.
That's
anyway.
What I mean. Like...
But if you pull it off, you would be the biggest legend in all of aviation history. Someone who's never flown a plane before manages to land in the sea, minor injuries, everyone gets out.
Can you imagine that?
You'd meet the president and the king and God knows what else.
Can you imagine if you did it, you pulled it all off, like down to the fucking ledge, like he's done it. But what you've actually done is just like, when you skim a rock over the water, it's just that, and then it corrades into an island and
it's straight to a cruise ship. It kills everybody.
Dan killed the king and the president, and everyone was on that boat.
It was one of those P&O cruises that's got 2,500 people on it.
Or it's the opposite, and you've crashed into it, and it turned out that it was like Epstein's boat, and all the
double hero,
all the wrongdoers are now gone. Dan could do no wrong. Hopefully, we'll never have to find that out, Dan.
Hopefully so.
But
I'm going to put the hours into practice
just in case.
Yeah.
Last thing I've got for you, Dan. Our good friends at Power World have said they haven't actually faced any legal action from the Pokemon company.
Probably because, again, we talked about this when it first came out. There's no way that they would have released if they hadn't already had what their plans were, what it was signed off.
Yeah.
This was just released under the radar, and Game Freak went, what?
There was trailers for this for like 2 years before we saw.
Why do you think we were so excited for it when it came out? We were just like, it's finally out. Like, Pokemon with guns, amazing.
This is the first time that they've openly come out though and gone, well, Nintendo don't seem to care.
It's probably because they're sick of everyone saying, how have you not been sued yet? How have you not been sued yet? How is this not copyright infringement?
Don't get me wrong, I still think there's a lot of infringement within the game, but
I think it depends. Like, unless you patent or trademark the exact design of a specific type of dog that's on fire, which I don't think you could get away with. And you just go, well, Az has got a bigger head and a crown.
Yeah, so
it's different.
I mean, for the most part, most of them are because there was. I mean, we went through some of the pictures where people had put basically the pictures on top, and it's
side by side,
the exact thing, but that's a fire one and that's a grass one, so it's different. So there's a lot of probably meticulous ways where they've gone, this is probably good enough where we could get away with it. Because I mean, if this ever did go to court and you've got the like the CEO and stuff from Power World, and he's there and he's just like, I didn't even know what Pokemon was. He's like, well, you're a liar. But
I did see that there was some news on the Power World Game Pass thing the other day saying that it was like 10 new pals or something like that, 15 new pals that are being added, as well as another couple of areas.
So that's probably like 115 or something like that.
I think it was 15.
Because there was only like 100 when we last checked.
Yes. There is an update required, so maybe it's actually in play now. Where's the? Is there not a bloody store page for it?
I mean, there should be.
I thought there was, in terms of like the details.
Tell you what though, Power World's been a massive success. Launched on PC and Xbox earlier this year, passing 12 million copies on Steam and 19 million players total. And obviously that wouldn't include Game Pass stuff either.
12 million? Just get Game Pass, it's fucking free, you bloody idiots. 12 million.
I still 100% stand by, if you own an Xbox or a PC, you should have Game Pass.
It's the only reason to have one
anymore. Not a PC and Xbox. I mean, don't just get a PC for Game Pass. Although,
I think it's kind of worth it.
Yeah, I'd still probably do it, to be honest.
I don't know whether I thought there was like news stuff. There's like the achievements on things. I'm pretty sure if you go on through the store.
Well, has Power World got its own website?
I'm assuming so. Yeah, because it will.
Yeah. But news. It's all in Japanese, unfortunately.
Sweet.
So I don't know. But the last news was 2022. So it's probably not the news we were looking for.
No.
There we go. I've got it. I found it, Dan. I've got it. It's on Twitter or X, whatever. New content, new island, Sakurajima. New island has appeared. Take control of the tower protected by a new faction, the Moonflowers, and free the beautiful island from their control. It's also home to many new pals. Explore and find new species. An arena has appeared in the desiccated desert. Battle against other players to assert your dominance. So it's multiplayer battles now. Stronghold, oil rig, which is controlled by the Rain Syndicate, has appeared in the ocean. Work together with friends to defeat powerful enemies and claim valuable resource such as crude oil. Player level cap has been raised to 55. New technologies available. New limit for power capture bonus has been increased from 10 to 12. New resource, including crude oil. New raids.
It sounds like the first kind of like really big update. Because it's still game preview at the moment. It's not like an actual proper release, is it?
New weapons. Laser rifle.
Oh, Callum. Okay, now we're getting into spoiler territory.
Well, no, because these will be on the technology tab, won't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I don't look at past the one that I can access.
Well, that's the first one anyway.
Because I don't want to jinx seeing a new thing. And
new cosmetics, like hats and stuff.
Are there any?
Well, the stuff that we've got at the moment is like this outfit
for headbands or whatever, but they still have benefits and stuff. Sort of like heat and cold resistance and whatever.
Oh no, yeah, they are. It's the clothes from the NPCs. So like, Zoe and Griswold. No, not Griswold. It is Griswold, isn't it?
Griswold.
Yeah.
Said, yeah.
So I think it's her hat anyway. But yeah. New buildings. Lock picking.
Interesting. Oh, I assume that's like PvP mode. Or like if we were on the server together.
No. You can attempt to open locked treasure chest with the new lockpick minigame.
Oh, okay.
So if you haven't got a silver key.
Silver keys. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. PAL skins.
Ooh, can you customize?
It just says you can now change PAL's skin at the new PAL dressing facility.
And why, with it being PAL World, why do I get the sense that if you're changing their skin, you have to tear the skin off and then reapply a new skin?
I don't think it's going to be that.
Change their skin.
PAL box capacity.
There's literally a machine that you blend them together to turn.
Yeah, but you don't see them blended together. It just lights up, and then you get one that pops out that's better than the other ones.
Yeah,
it's not like an actual blender. It's like
sacrificial altar.
Player PAL box capacity increased from 480 to 960.
That is a hell of a jump.
Different like lift monk enhancements has been increased. Setting that prevents items from being automatically picked up.
What?
So when you walk over an item, it won't just automatically pick it up, and then you accidentally get over encumbered.
Oh, I'd like the option to maybe turn that on. Or off.
It says a setting, so I assume you can.
Okay, yeah, good.
Base related stuff, building systems been reworked and improved. Construction is now more intuitive and smooth. I thought the building wasn't too bad.
For like walls and stuff like that, for building bases and like houses and stuff, it could be a bit finicky. Like trying to put roofs on and like make new levels and stuff. It was a little bit awkward. But the only thing they need to fix is the grapple animation.
I mean, that might be
it's
on it.
Dog shit. It fucking better be. Because good lord, it looks terrible still. We played it last week?
It was last week.
Yeah, and it's still because like there was an update to it last week. There's currently, I'm looking at it now, it says update required, so there's actually a new one now. When's that coming into play from, mate?
This update released now.
Well, that's how you see what it is.
It's probably this one.
Yeah.
I haven't got a time on the tweet, but it was the first thing on the Google News. So it's probably today.
Right. Well, it says there's an update required, so if it's anything more than a couple of gig, then that'll be it, I reckon.
Bug fixes. Change the grappling gun behavior to make it less likely to get stuck.
That doesn't mean it looks any better, but I'll take it.
Mitigation's been added for issue that caused PCs to freeze when closing the game. Many other minor bug fixes.
Cool.
A warning will be displayed if the GPU driver is too out of date. Some songs have been added.
Songs? I didn't know there was music in it.
6 new songs have been added to the soundtrack if you've already purchased the game.
Hell, I'm going to have to stop it there because your audio's going to die, but it's 19.43 gig.
That's a big update.
That is a big
I think that's bigger than Power World.
That's new islands and new shit to do, so that'll be a good one. So I'm going to get that installed tonight while I play Robin of Sherwood building a standing whatever the fuck
it was standing up.
Yeah, but Callum, I think you're forgetting one important thing. When we watched the sort of the recap, oh no, this wasn't from the Xbox recap. Sorry, it's from the Nintendo recap when they announced the Legend of Zelda new Zelda game and Mario Brothers Friends Forever. Whatever it was.
Brothership.
That's the one. There was a game called Thank Goodness You're Here.
Thank goodness you're here.
Sort of like, what the fuck is that? That looks incredible. As we found out almost immediately afterwards, there's a demo that's on Steam, which is only about 15 minutes long. Callum, it's incredible.
It's very good. Very, very good.
It's so good. It's so good. It's the most northern British game I've ever seen in my life. There's not any games that are based in Yorkshire, as far as I'm aware. But this is the one. Like the fact that there's subtitle options for normal English and then actual subtitles for what the fuck they're on about. Like, it's so regionalised. It seems so specifically niche that I just don't understand why anyone would buy it outside of the
I don't know why
north of
anyone
England.
would make it, personally.
Because it's amazing.
Don't get me wrong, I love it, but like even like the opening thing where it's telling you about the town, it's like the advert for the place is like, and it just ends with "It's Reet." Even down to when the spoilers for which thank goodness you're here, but when the gentleman's stuck and he's trying to get the penny that's fell in the tuppence, sorry. And he's got butter all over his arm. Just like, quick, grab my forearm. It's like, say forearm.
My forearm.
But it's very funny. It's very, very well stylized and animated, and it reminded me of a art style. It's kind of very similar to like the Beano, that kind of old British comic style.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And it's just very, very good. Too short. I think the demo's too short for my liking, but
I that speaks to me that the game itself isn't particularly long.
It probably won't be.
It's maybe 5 or 6 hours if you're lucky. Maybe
a game that the people made prior to this is currently free on Epic, so you might want to give that a look. It's some like glazing donuts or something like that.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't because it looked like it was just like a puzzle matching.
I do what I do with every single game on Epic. It's just like, add to library.
I have been for most of them. That one was not. That was not on the list. But I tell you what, given the fact that it's these same guys, I want to at least have a look and see if it's more than, because I dismissed it out of hand, frankly. So maybe I do need to have a little look and see if it's worth it.
Untitled Goose Game is probably going to be the closer thing to it, where it's not a long game, but it's fun. It's got some funny moments in it. But again, you're just running around as a goose.
I don't want to play a game for 4 hours. It's just goosing. That's
this seems like it's got a lot more meat to it in terms of writing and.
Oh, it's already gone off Epic. It's now that train, whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, well, you missed your chance, Daniel.
Bloody hell!
I'll play it and let you know.
It wasn't very good anyway.
Considering I only heard of it because of Thank Goodness You're Here.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't very good.
Maybe not, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
But no, it's very good. It's free on Steam at the moment. I don't think there's it's out on PC and Switch, but I don't think there's a demo on the Nintendo Store. I think it's just on Steam.
I did check there first because I figured that was probably going to be a bit more. It felt a bit more steamy rather than
Switch.
Yeah. But either way, I'm so glad I did. I'm trying to stop myself from just going back and just doing it again.
I've done it twice just to see if there's other stuff you can do.
I can't imagine there is, but it's sort of like a cool, sort of like fun puzzle.
I spoke to more people the second time. I kind of just did what I was meant to do the first time round.
Slapping everybody just to see what silly stuff they said. It's just people going, "Hey now!"
Did you do the lawnmower? Did you mow the grass?
It took me about 10 minutes to realise that it wasn't just these two guys going, "I love you." Like I was supposed to do something in the background.
Yeah, you meant to go left and right.
Yeah. It took me about 5 minutes before I was like, "Oh, this isn't just this, right?" I kind of like that. It's the same with the boss thing when he shouts at you and throws a bomb in red or whatever, and knocks you out, and then you got to press a button to get back up. Yeah. Didn't know that.
I did.
So I
did
in
that.
The back of his head with him just pissing about on his desk or whatever. I was like, "What is this game? It's incredible." And he just jump out the window. He's like, "Why do you go out the door?"
The door's over there.
The door's over there.
Even with the water thing though, when you knock the thing to get the water thingy off the cooler and then roll it to the door so you can get out. And he's just like, "Barbara, it's happened again." What do you do? So do it's happened again.
That's so good. I love it. I love it so much.
The stupidness of when you're in the pub and like he's swimming in the beer and the bottles there, but the bottle's actually the blacksmith, and he's just like,
Yeah,
I like to have me morning pint and then have a big wee.
locksmith.
The locksmith, sorry, not blacksmith.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember Creature Comforts?
Yes, the
Aardman thing, where it's just like they just interview just random British public people in sort of like the 90s.
Yeah,
it was.
Well, and animals, weren't they?
No. They interviewed the public.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Made
they
it into animated.
Yeah, so they just go, well, just tell us about your day, and then talk about walking around the beach and eating a cornetto or whatever, and it was just something funny or inane.
Yeah,
and then they made two dogs sitting on a pier saying it instead. It's got that kind of vibe to it, that it feels very natural in the sense of it's inane.
Yeah,
like there's nothing exciting going on. It's someone trying to get into the pie shop to open up so that they can start selling their pies again. Brilliant. That's all the game needs to be these days. Just make it regional. Put Matt Berry in it to get people to go buy it purely for that alone, and sell it in, I don't know, maybe not below Birmingham, because that's the cut-off, I'd say. Everyone in the north would love it. Everyone in the south would be like, that fucking wankers.
I'd say
Barnsley, nonsense.
I'd buy it just for the fact that Matt Berry's in it, but it's...
Well, and that's the thing. That's a lot of name power behind it.
So just talk about the trailer, but when it's as the gardener, and he's on the phone and he's stuck to it, he's like, what you wearing? He's like, green dungarees and a flat cap. You're never going to believe this, because obviously that's what he's wearing. It's like so stupid.
It seems like it's really, really well written.
Yeah.
Like a silly sitcom kind of writing style to it, which I think is going to work quite well with a little puzzle game behind it.
It seems that, again, just to touch on that, it seems that it's a funny puzzle adventure. And really, there's not that many of that kind of... There was none of this kind of game, but when you think...
Well, I'd say that it'd be easy, not easy, but it'd be easier to make than something else, like some huge whatever. But it seems very well drawn, very well stylized. There's a lot going on in it.
Yeah.
And by the same token, I also played the demo for Flintlock. Siege of Gods, or Day of the Siege of the Foxes, or whatever.
Remember.
It's okay, but it's just sort of it's got the kind of, it seems like a bit of sort of a Horizon free world. It's kind of running around and doing things, but it doesn't feel very impactful, and like I'm just sort of like, this looks okay in the demo when we watch the showcase or whatever. But it'll be on Game Pass. I'll play on Game Pass. Sure,
yeah,
but it doesn't hit home. I don't want to talk to people about it. But thank goodness you're here. As soon as I was in work the next day, I was like, watch the trailer for this. It's the silliest thing, and it looks amazing. And everyone I've shown it to, obviously they're all based in Manchester, and they're all like, that looks sick. I've got to get that. It looks fucking great. I think, though, that trying to pitch it like an American market or the Japanese market, I think maybe they'd enjoy it as like a sort of a funny puzzle game, but the nuance to it, like the British humour behind it, like that's lost in a lot of countries, unfortunately.
I do know, I not personally, but I know there's a lot of Americans that like our version of The Office and the IT crowd and the in-betweeners and that, like, very British.
But there's a lot of like growing up stuff, and like like even the title screen where it's just a row of houses in Yorkshire.
Just Coronation Street.
Exactly, they won't get that. And like the little black and white thing in the corner, as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's perfect. I remember that as a kid, just being in the corner, just going, breaks coming on. Because they're changing the fucking film or whatever. Like, there's a lot of that sort of stuff that I think that I don't think it spoils the experience, and it adds to the sort of the thematic nature of, it's Yorkshire in the 70s or whatever. And they're all working at the tea factory. And then they go to the pub and the working's men club, and then they'll go to bed and no one talks to their wife or whatever. Like, it's what your granddad would have been like, oh yeah, but back in my day, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was people just in the park not doing anything because they had nothing else to do. It seems like you'd lose a lot of the nuance to it unless you're from a certain area of the country, from a certain generation. It's like they made it for themselves and they just went, sure, we'll release it around the world as well.
Potentially.
I genuinely hope, I really hope that in the same vein as like Goose, Untitled Goose Game, that it comes out of nowhere and just takes people really off guard, and they enjoy it for what it is, and they get to make more shit like this, because this seems more like a passion project more than anything.
I mean, I've wondered, it's obviously got some backing where they've got, because there's not just Matt Berry, there's a lot of well-known people in the cast, and there's a Canadian comedian who I really like. I apologize because I can't remember his name, but he's from Canada, but he lives in Wolverhampton, and when he first moved over here,
the Canada of England, I think they call it.
But when he first moved over here, like a lot of his comedy is basically him not understanding British things, and that's most of his comedy. But
Sure.
and I can see a lot of, if it does get big with, like, if people are streaming it on Twitch and stuff, I can see the reason it's so popular is because they don't understand it, and
they go, why is everything 10 bob?
Yeah,
Who the fuck's Bob?
What's a threepence and
precisely, yeah.
But I think that'll be a very similar thing. Like, and granted, he's a comedian, so he needs to be funny. But I can see it being that kind of thing where because I do think that it was on the demo was one of the in the top 10 for the streaming list the week of the release.
Really?
They could have been all British people streaming. I don't know. I didn't look, but I remember seeing it on the news thingy.
Yeah. But again, most streamers, they're not going to be of an age where they'd remember TV shows that look like this.
Not really, no. And that could be the charm of it. Maybe they're like...
There is charm. I think that's the point, and I think that's what I haven't articulated very well. There is a charm to it that I recognise the charm, and I recognise the references that they're making. Like, there'll be casualty references and that sort of shit, you know what I mean? Like, fucking Heartbeat.
I was going to say Heartbeat, Dad's Army, and...
Yeah, exactly. There'll be all that kind of stuff that could be in there that would just be lost on people. Yeah. Like, you know, but it wouldn't take away from the charm of it. You know that it's genuine.
Yeah.
You know that it's coming from a place of respect and love, and you don't need to understand every fucking bit, but you like the world and what they've set up, and it feels very, very real.
Yeah.
Which to a lot of people it probably will be.
That's probably...
But again, I recognise this. I recognise, you know, sort of like, you know, really moody, not in the mood for doing anything to get into work, shouting at the spotty teenager, you know, shop owner. I've worked for people like that. I absolutely fucking recognise it. I recognise everything.
I've been every one of those people. But I think that's why that's potentially why it is more, not necessarily open world, but because you can... I think there'll be different ways of tackling situations. So it's...
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Not necessarily...
From the demo so far, I feel like it's just... there's a puzzle, and there is a way of solving the puzzle.
No, so I don't mean that like, for example, for the guy with his arm stuck, I don't think there's other ways of doing that, but you can do that, and then it's kind of an accident how things happen. But
that's the thing I like about it. Is
that's what I think that's why people like it.
There's a guy stuck, and you don't just pull him out.
Yeah.
You've got to go to the pub and change all the beer barrels, and then swim through all the beer, and then come out and get the locksmith to go to the pie shop to go into the back of the freezer to get stuck in a giant block of butter and then slide out, and then he doesn't end up sliding his arm out anyway. He pulls the fucking grid out of the road. Brilliant.
But that's what I
mean.
I think
it's so stupid. I love it.
I think that's why I think it will be popular because of that's how you solve the puzzles, and you don't look at it and go, "Oh, if I do this and I do that, then this will happen." It's just shit just happens.
I fear that the replayability would just be...
I don't think there'll be much replayability.
No.
I'll be honest.
Again, give it 6 months and I could go back and just be like, "Oh my god, I could solve all the puzzles, but everything else is really fucking fun."
Yeah.
Still.
I say it was funny just going around just slapping the bin bags and then the rubbish falling out, and it's...
Or you hit all the rats in the park and start singing.
But yeah, what is this like? Is it a vole? I forgot what he says.
Like
the one that's in the shop.
He's like, "Ha! Got you, I'm an otter," or whatever. Also, he's like, "Actually, no, I'm a stoat." Cool.
But it's not explained why you're like this small either and everybody else is huge.
No, I don't. I still don't understand that part of it. Where you're just this like tiny child almost.
Because it's like it's kind of billed as you go to this town, so maybe like where you're from, everyone's dead tiny, but the person that sends him there is the same size as everybody else.
Yeah, I think like because I can't remember what the story was. I think I saw it afterwards or something. But it was like you've got to go to Barnsworth, whatever it's called, to sell insurance. Or something
like that. So we've got what they need or something. Like,
yeah, or we don't know what it is, but we've got it. I don't know.
Jump out the window and land in a bus.
I'm so excited for it. It looks so silly. I genuinely can't wait to play it.
I think it's going to be really, really funny, and I hope there is more to it than what's been presented so far. And looking at some of the bits in the trailer, like where it does kind of change the gameplay up a bit to a more platformy and stuff, I think for that playthrough it'll be phenomenal. After that, it's going to be.
It'll be diminishing returns, I reckon.
Same
reckon
as
if you
Goose
did
Game.
that once a year, I think you'd get the most out of it that
definitely.
way. But I just love the fact that there's just there's a game, an indie game, sure, but a game that's set in a fictional Barnsley, like in Yorkshire or whatever. And it looks like, why? Like it's London. It's, you do a regional thing. It's Cockneys and whatever.
Yeah.
The north of it, in the 70s or the 60s, whatever. I just don't understand.
No,
but the fact that it's so specific kind of makes it so unique, and that's its selling point.
Yeah, it is, because you don't see, like, people aren't set there going, the next Assassin's Creed should be in Japan or in this and stuff.
Yeah,
just like...
in Yorkshire. Hey up, love.
Hey up. Got you.
Beery.
But
you can't. There's no health potions or whatever. It's pasties and pies.
Yeah. Have a Cornish pasty, get your health bar back.
Well, Cornish pasty is probably wrong because that's in Cornwall rather than in the north. But a nice big pie.
Pasty's a pasty to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks real fucking good, and that'll be a day one immediately.
I honestly think of all the things, like, again, Assassin's Creed Shadow looks kind of great. I'm way more excited for this.
Yeah.
And I know that it will be a 4 or 5 hour stint, and then I'll be like, that was incredible, but I'm probably not going to play that again for a while.
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be like 70 quid though either. So.
No, fucking better not be. I mean, to be fair, if it's really well received, okay, fuck it, we'll have an extra tenner on this, we'll make a fortune. I mean, everyone will buy it, apparently.
If it is that well received, we might get DLC if it goes to a different town or something like that.
This seems like there's a very specific vision in mind for this, and I don't think that you can just sort of go, everyone kind of went bananas for it. We need to. Half of it looks hand drawn. It looks like it's old, like, picture textbooks from when we were at school.
Yeah,
like, like things that were left over from the 80s and the 70s. And like that was the kind of the art style.
Yeah,
it was very sort of like big, bold outlines around things,
like rhubarb and custard.
Exactly. Like that. Yeah. Old, like really old, shit-looking cartoons that we had back in the sort of late 80s, early 90s that were from the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. I just think that to try and just tack something onto it, I'd rather a sequel than DLC for something like this. If it is good.
I mean, I don't even know if they would, though, because like Untitled Goose Game was very well received and very, very popular. And obviously, we've had nothing from that. But
it was also very, very popular for about 6 months. And then that was it.
I don't know, it was still quite a big streamed game. And again, I had fun with it, but I played it because it was on Game Pass. I wouldn't have...
Was it? Oh,
yeah, on Xbox, yeah. Like, me and Logan used to love
I would have actually played that if it was.
Yeah, it's good fun. It is good fun, but it is what it is. There's nothing more to it, nothing less to it. You're a goose, and you've got a checklist of the annoying things you've got to do, like steal the guy's keys, turn the hose off, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and it gets increasingly harder because people will stop you doing stuff and whatnot. But that's it for the whole game. There's nothing else to it. It's more fun with two people because there's two geese.
Two gooses.
Two gooses. And a partridge in a pear tree. But yeah, this looks infinitely more to it than Goose Game. And I haven't played the donut thing, so I can't comment on that. And I think that's all they've made. So,
I mean, not counting the donut one, 2 for 2, probably, in terms of quality for what they've been pumping out.
Well, in terms of...
Again, I don't want to jump the gun, but I can't see this... Even if it is the same all the way through, it's great.
I enjoyed the demo.
What is great. And that's only 10 minutes. And usually, again, I played about half an hour of Flint Siege, Day of the Sieges, Dawn of the Dead,
Flintlock.
And it kind of feels like there's a bit of sort of like demons, like soul-like kind of thing to it, and it's just sort of like, this feels like it's just touching on a few different things.
Yeah.
It's not the best version of any of them, really. It's not bad, to be clear, but I'm not buzzing to get the fucking full version of it.
I wasn't super hyped for it. Again, it looked fine in video form, but it just seems to be the same as stuff we've already got. Whereas, again, a big draw for Thank Goodness You're Here is there's nothing like it.
Well, it's the same as Harold Halibut, that I want to put some time into that, because there's a very specific vision of what they wanted to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I want to see it through, and I want to kind of... I was literally talking to a mate at work today about Control, because he's just bought Control.
Oh, telekinesis.
Remedy,
yeah.
Sam Lake, X-Files, Paranormal.
Good game. I like Control.
Same, love it. And he was saying it's really good. Like, it does still hold up. I reinstalled it not long ago and I was playing it again. It is still really good.
It's not super old though. It's only like 5, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. But he was saying it's very dialogue heavy, and I was like, well, a lot of it's kind of like lore stuff that I'm really interested in, where it's just like loads of redacted files about crazy paranormal objects and shit. There's a limit to it. So like Fallout and like Skyrim and that kind of stuff, where it's just like 1,000 books, and it's just like, come on. Like, I want to appreciate the writers for the amount of effort that they put into this. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm not going to retain the knowledge. It doesn't tie into anything other than maybe like another story in another book.
Yeah.
9 hours from now that I read them, I mention it. I'd have already forgotten by then anyway.
But you're there to play a game.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I actually read the books is I scan through it just in case it unlocks a new level for a certain thing. Other than that, I'm sorry, writers, but you might as well just have a book that's just got squiggles in it. And you don't need to read it. It's just you find the book, you open it, potentially you get a skill point.
That was the annoying thing with the first Tomb Raider of the reboot series. Every time you picked up an artifact, it would pause the game and tell you about it. So I thought, I don't care. Like...
It's still supposed to be like an educational.
Yeah, but just do like every other game where you've picked it up and it will go like hold L3 to find out more.
That's what they did do, though, didn't they? They changed that. So like press select and you can look at it. But some of them had like you would manipulate to find like an extra thing that's on it to get a bit more information.
I know if it's something like that, which again Uncharted did it, and the ones where it was one where you needed to move it, they popped up and you go, oh, I've got to find something else on this one. But if it was just a rando thing that you can read if you want or whatever, don't really matter. That was I press this to view. But Tomb Raider used to do my fucking tits.
Yeah.
But like you said, they did change it for the other ones, so it's all good. But yeah, sorry, Control.
But that's literally what we're talking about. Is that he said it was quite dialogue heavy, and I was just like, well, like some of the redacted stuff's quite interesting, like the audiobooks and stuff like that, because he was. Funnily enough, he was a consultant not a consultant, but like a freelance consultant for the BBC, writing articles about the X-Files.
Fucking hell.
And I was just like, that's such a stupid... Of course you would. And then we were talking about the X-Files, because I love the X-Files. It's genuinely a good show. And I could mention a thing, and he would be able to tell me exactly what happened and the episode number. And I was like, maybe this is true, actually, because you know way more about this than I do. So, fuck me. But he was a proper fucking dork back in the day, which is why I love him so much. But he was saying, like, if there's something important, tell me. Like, narrate it, read it out. Like, it's a Remedy game. There's constant narration going on in a head, isn't there? So anything actually important that I picked up, read it to me, and I'll pay attention.
Well, a lot of games do that though, where you like pick up an audio log and it'll play while you carry on playing the game. Like,
yeah. BioShock.
Yeah. I prefer stuff like that personally. But I like Control though. Control's a good game. Didn't get as popular as I thought it would have.
Well, I mean, he said he was playing Alan Wake 2, which he absolutely loves, and he said that because that's Remedy as well, isn't it? Yeah. He said that that's very much the same. It's just like read a newspaper and it's like, government conspiracies and blah blah blah. He's just like, the game's incredible, but for the love of God, shut up.
But it's also about an author, so what'd you expect?
The reading's kind of implied, really, isn't it? Yeah. Whereas Control's a department of crazy paranormal shit.
But it's also like
shoot ghosts. You want a Ghostbuster game? That's what you want.
But it's like you play like Resident Evil and you go, it's a survival horror and stuff. This is like Control is more of a like psychological thriller type of. It's not like in a.
I won't go that far.
No. But I mean, in terms of if you want to put it in a bracket, it's not like an all-out action game. It's not an RPG. It's not this. It's not. It doesn't fit into one bracket. I don't think. And I think it's more of the story-based adventure.
I'd say it's a story-based action game. Like, you've got a gun that does multiple things. There's a grenade launcher and a shotgun and a machine gun and whatever. Like, you're shooting ghosts and monsters, and it is kind of an action game.
The version on Game Pass as well, I think, is the gold edition as well.
No, it's the what's it called? Standard edition. That's on. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the full one.
There's another one, isn't there? So there's some DLC for it. Oh, the Foundation. Oh, it comes with it, apparently.
I'm sure it did.
So it's a standard edition that's got the DLC with it.
Because I'd already played Control, and then when it came to Game Pass, I installed it to play the DLC. Because I could have sworn it came with it.
Yeah, expansion pack 2, AWE. Ready to use in-game, no download needed. There we go. So there is an Ultimate Edition, which comes with the standard game and the bundle. Oh, so the Ultimate Edition is the one that I've got, but it's just called the Standard Edition in the library. So I don't know why, but it is the Ultimate one that you get. Sure.
I was going to say, I could have sworn it was.
Yeah, but it's a fucking solid game.
Yeah, it's very good.
I really like it. But I do want to go and play, thank goodness you're here, while I microwave my dinner. Because I think it's going to take about the same amount of time for both.
That works for me. If you want to see more, you can go to podcastplayer.com. It's all going along the bottom of the screen. And don't forget to check out our store page where we've got some brand new designs. They're all flying off the shelves.
Digital shelves.
Yeah, digital shelves. But yeah, I've got a lot of people visiting, so thank you very much. And continue to do it, even if you bought some, buy something else. Don't be cheap.
It's almost Christmas.
Exactly. Get us something. Dan, I'll see you on the next one. And we'll see you on the next one as well. And thank you for joining us. Bye.